Hello. Yeah, as the title of this video suggests, this is my short run in the European Continentals Finals. Got a few videos in the works at the minute, so I thought I'd get the smallest one done out of the way, then I can crack on. Joined by Jan. How you doing, mate?
Hello, good to be here. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be along. So thank you very much for inviting me. Doing pretty well. Looking forward to seeing your run here. Quite excited. Was following it quite intensely, obviously, without being able to see things. But it was it was interesting to see the teams at play. I think really
the teams. Go
yes. On. Just so much variety in that slot 6. It was amazing. Who knew? Who knew there were so many options?
So I had this weird thing where my whole thing about this cup was the only 10-pointers because slot 6 was so poor with 1-pointers, and the 6-pointers in slot 5 were so good. I just thought if we're going to see 10-point teams, like there's likely to be a 1-point pick coming from that slot 6. And when I was looking at it, I never considered a Alolan Grimer because I don't play the game enough to have any Excel candy to have a Alolan Grimer. So I just in my head, I just blanked out Grimer as even a possibility that not only I could run, but that everyone else could run. I just assumed no one would run it, which obviously was, in hindsight, a bit of a mistake. Not because Alolan Grimer is particularly threatening. I think it's a great pick, but the problem is, I'd assumed that, given that people would be picking a 6-pointer from slot 5, then not wanting to pick a 1-pointer from slot 6, that would mean that there would be no Azumarill.
Yeah, I can see that logic. I think I came to that conclusion myself with my own building, but from a slightly different angle, I guess, because anyone who knows me a bit or has seen my team building or has had the displeasure of battling me in the last couple of cups will know that I kind of like my XLs. Outside of my comments on what the XL system looks like right now, so I kind of had sneaking suspicion that we might see an XL from slot 6, just because I knew that Alolan Grimer could basically function like Skuntank, which I thought was going to be a really big pick from slot 5. But if you could build this one, and again, I agree that slot 6 was a terrible slot. It was really not good.
At one point, I was genuinely looking at Fletchinder.
I mean, I would have applauded you.
Yeah, I mean, I built the Quilladin, and I was looking at Quilladin. It has a Quilladin and had a bit of hype around it, but I feel the need to say I had a look at Quilladin and I had Quilladin in my head before I saw the Dancing Rob using it from the tournament. So like Quilladin was always in my mind here.
Yeah.
It came down to either Quilladin, Galarian Rapidash, or Fletchinder for me in the first run, and then in the second run, given that I'd seen the charm wasn't a thing, then I went back to my initial gut instinct of, right, we'll not pick a 1-pointer and we'll run Trigalgi, like the beast itself. We'll run that, and then we'll go with Trigalgi, Scrafty, Wishcash, which was a really good call.
But yeah, battling that with you in practice, I was just kind of like, wow, this is really, really not fun to play against. even having like 3 or 4 Pokemon which are supposed to counter them, I was just like, looking like this just isn't happening. But I agree. I really liked the Dragalge pick, and one of my original builds for Continentals involved it. And then I just ended up doing my usual thing, kind of like, I want to build something really weird, and then ended up with my Continentals team, which anyone's free to go and have a look at. There is, if you can find me on Twitter, I did post it. It's quite fun, I felt. But it's not about me today. It's all about you, Matthew. So yeah, no, I like going back to that point that you raised. I was kind of I was surprised about how many Azumarill have emerged, both in this finals and in prelims as well. I thought of a 10-point pick, Azu was not going to kind of rear its ugly blue face at all. I expected Medi, because everyone loves Medi. Medi doing Medi things can be pretty terrifying. And I thought low-key there'd be some kind of perhaps, there might be some like Altaria push, because I thought that Altaria could work really, really well in the meta. Especially if a lot of teams weren't prepared for it, it had the ability to kind of really run rampant. But yeah, seeing as many of Azu as we did, I was genuinely shocked, and I thought it was perhaps a bit of a trap. But what do I know?
I agree. I agree. Now, the only 10 pointers I was expecting to see were in slots 5 and 6, as I say. I actually had a look at building around Skarmory at one point. Because I thought Skarmory had the potential to be awesome here, but I couldn't make it work, because that always left me with 1-pointers from slots 6 and then sometimes slot 5 as well. But I see, weirdly, Azu wasn't necessarily, certainly in my first team, wasn't necessarily the problem for me. The problem was Azu paired with dark types, because of that sort of core was really difficult to break, because Scrafty was the sort of, well, Scrafty was the only thing here that I brought twice. I changed everything else, not because I thought the team was bad, but because I wanted to make those changes around. Well, I wanted to bring Dragalge back in, and I wanted to bring Ariados in as well, to deal with the Azu and Dark type cores.
What a pick, by the way! What a
great,
pick.
great.
I love that thing.
And then Wishcash as well. I thought there's not much knocking about that's really good versus Wishcash. And at 4 points, that was a bit of a bargain.
Yeah, that was another thing that I thought, like, we all know what Wishcash can do. It's so annoying, and Blizzard be getting buffed like a couple of seasons ago in GBL, taking it back up to that kind of monstrous. I think it was like, I think it was like 140 base power or something like that. It was just like insane. It just, for something that's so unassuming, just being landing that Blizzard, and like I think takes like a full health Mandibuzz basically down to red, which is just nuts.
It's mad, isn't it?
So it was one of those ones I was surprised that it was so cheap, personally speaking. So the true of a few other picks that ended up like Probopass for 1.
Yeah,
that seemed insane.
Yeah. Well, I brought Probopass in because I just thought more and more people aren't going to use counter users that aren't dark type, at which point Bronzong's niche is gone and Probopass is better overall, I think.
Yes. It's all those things are sort of like I kind of, I'm not the biggest fan of Probo from a philosophical perspective, but it was just as a pure kind of exercise in seeing value for money, essentially, it was just monstrous to see like how has this gone under the radar.
Yeah.
But then it didn't go under the radar because you saw so many people running it.
And I think it's important because Dragonite was powerful here, as you say. Like Altaria had the potential to be awesome, and Dragonite is a 1-point Altaria, more or less.
Yeah, there was another one that I was kind of initially surprised at how many people ran it, particularly the Shadow version. But then as I kind of thought about it, I was like, well, actually, I thought about running it originally, so it must be a good idea. But in all seriousness, yeah, I wasn't necessarily expecting lots of people to go with Dragonite in slot 1, just because, and again, particularly because of the Shadow version, it puts a lot of pressure on it. It does get you the shields, but it is very, very, very much like a paper towel, and a wet one at that. And I just thought people might want to go with a bit more bulk, perhaps. I thought there might be more Dragonairs, personally.
See, I think Dragonite is the best 1-pointer in Kanto. I say that.
I have things to say about that, but
well, go on. Name me a better one.
Well, I think we both know, and I think one Mr. Holmes will also agree that I thought of the 1-pointers, Kanto Raichu was an insane pick, and that's not just because I was running it. I felt like just the jobs that it could do. Okay, so maybe it's more about this in terms of, I think generally speaking, Dragonite was probably an insane pick in terms of like you could just slot that in there and it didn't matter what your team was.
Yeah.
And that's perhaps why we saw so many of them. I think in terms of actual functionality, I think Kanto Raichu was really up there because the jobs that it could do for that slot was just insane as well. And you know, in my prelims run, it was a real MVP for me. It did it exactly what I needed it to do, which is why I loved it so much. It wasn't kind of a thing like, oh, it's not really firing. It's like it was there to do a job. It did it very well, and it caught a lot of people off guard. So maybe that's why I love it so much, because it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. But yeah, okay. But if you're going to just drop something in generally, I think Dragonite was pretty insane, really, as a 1-point pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, as a Dragonite fan, I picked Gyarados because I wanted to do what Milotic did in the first, and I thought actually this was even more important in the finals rather than the prelims, because I felt like we were seeing more Dragon, Fire, Water and sort of setups, and Gyarados deals with all those whilst resisting counter from Scrafty. I just thought Gyarados was going to be potentially really, really useful.
I agree. Like, considering all the teams that we saw across all of the finals across the continents, it was a very good kind of anti-slot 1 pick in many regards. Like, it's still going to take a lot of damage if it gets matched up against like the Dragonite or anything, but like at least you're doing super effective back, right?
You're winning that matchup.
Yeah. Like you come out of it, and I mean you come out of it like at least an Aqua Tail on a crunch, and then be able to kind of like throw something and be annoying. I used it myself in Vortex quite a lot, and it was just very frustrating for a lot of other Dragon type users. It's just kind of like, oh, I can't actually win this matchup as well as I thought of, or it's just a very kind of, I think it's one of those ones that for me tends to go under the radar quite a lot again. I think a lot of people just kind of forget that it is so annoying. Right.
And the big thing for me as well was that it beat the dark types in slot 6 in Scrafty and Spiders too, which were the things that were paired with Azu that gave me trouble. So now, not only have I got Ariados to deal with Azu and those darks, but I've also got Gyarados to deal with those things, and I've got Probopass, which I'm quite happy with Probopass as an Azu counter. Like, most Azus don't run Hydro Pump anymore these days. I will pretty much always run Hydro Pump. I think it's amazing on Azu, but I know most people don't, so it's a bit of a risky one.
People are scared of falling into the kind of the GBL season 1 mindset. Like, every Azu has Hydro Pump, kind of like don't want to be. We want to be seen to be moving forward, not backwards. But I agree, Hydro Pump is just such an excellent move on Azu, particularly now that XL is a thing. Like, so you know, traditionally, I think there was an argument to not necessarily have to run Hydro on old Azu builds because they weren't XL, so they were obviously going to have a higher attack stat product there. But now I think with XL being like the thing, I think Hydro Pumps, okay, not necessarily like you definitely need it, but it makes it run so much better because you're picking up that power which you've lost out on, right? So I personally run Hydro Pump on most of my Azus. Giving my trade secrets away, but it's just so it closes out so many games where you don't think it will.
Exactly.
But what do I know?
Well, should we crack on?
Let's have a look at this then. So
Leandro.
I'm looking forward, like, kind of like I've got no idea what's going to happen within the games. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Well, last time I played Leandro, it was in a showdown. And it was in Commander Cup Showdown, and he absolutely destroyed me. So I must admit, I was a bit nervous here.
Well, I mean, you know, he's had a pretty insane season when you look at that kind of his trajectory. To kind of like take it too much away from the battles and stuff, but like, you know, where he got
in the world, I think.
Yeah, like considering that he kind of didn't, as far as I was aware, didn't start pushing till a bit later in the season. Like maybe even midway through, then that kind of had that meteoric rise. Just like incredibly impressive. Like it's hard not to kind of think like, oh well, this is it's definitely going to be tough. You're in continental finals, right? But like it's like you don't want to be necessarily going up against a guy who's just like essentially just smashed it for like 4 months, kind of out of the year. And also a very, very interesting team as well.
Yeah. So my thinking here was that he just wouldn't bring Pelipper and Dragonite. I just thought it'd be too scared of Probo, given that he's also got Grimer, which also isn't great versus me. I don't really know what I can't remember exactly what I was thinking. I just remember thinking that Gyarados looks really good. I could use Wishcast late game if shields are down, so I can get the Blizzard off on Pelipper and Dragonite as well. So I normally have my save swap on the right hand side of the 3, as you can see here. The Trigalgi is there, so I must be thinking Trigalgi is a save swap here, which
I do the same thing. So I think it makes the most sense.
I agree, definitely.
There are haters out there, and they're wrong.
Yeah, but Trigalgi Steelix is probably the biggest issue for Trigalgi. But even then, it's got Aqua Tail.
Yeah, so what I love about the Andrews team is the Steelix, actually, just because it's such an out there pick considering the meta. But that Dragon Tail buff, it benefited Dragalgi really, really well, but it has turned it into a bit more of a monster.
Made it relevant again. It's made it relevant.
Exactly. You know, that's why because I've always loved Steelix, and I think it's a great pick. But it just needed that bit of extra oomph, and that's what Dragon Tail has done. I agree with your thinking here. Like in terms of Gyarados and Whiscash are pretty good across the board there. Not really anything that you kind of really terrified by, I guess.
So, the Munchlax was a bit of a concern, but because it's so difficult for me to beat outside of Scrafty. But I also thought as well, because of Gyarados being so good across the board, I didn't necessarily need Switch, so I didn't bring Scrafty to begin with.
Yeah, I think when you've got such good general matchups with 2 of your 3, I think the way that I approach it is very similar in terms of if I've got two Pokemon which I cover the whole 6 really generally, I worry less about Switch because I feel like I can kind of regain it somewhere else at some point. So I like the Dragalge pick as well, just because I've started using it a lot myself and it's just a monster. So I think that's the 3 that makes sense to me anyway, and probably something that I'd probably run with. So
cool. Well, I'll press play and we'll crack on.
Let's see.
Here we go. So I'm fairly happy with this because it means I'm not up against Wishcash. I'm not having to do Aqua Tails or Trigalgi. So I decided to stay in a little bit and chip it first to make it easier for me to keep Switch.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's always nice when you can kind of make your life a little easier against something like Munchlax. Don't have to have too many things taking body slams.
Yeah, so I go into Wishcash because I'm thinking Dragalgi is still pretty versatile, and Wishcash is nice and spammy as well. So I'm going to force him to throw moves.
Yeah,
don't have to worry about the bulldoze that Dragalgi would do either.
It's always the thing that I forget with Wishcash is that those mud bombs do actually hurt quite a bit. I've been caught out by that a few times, much to my dismay.
Yeah, stab is a hugely underrated factor. Like Mud Bomb off a Toxic Rock always feels a bit disappointing when you consider how attack weighted Toxic Rock is, but then from a from a Wishcash, it always feels a bit better.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think I go straight for the Blizzard here. I want to get a shield at least.
Get maximum value.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have been able to get to a Mud Bomb and Blizzard anyway. So, before being
I know situations where it's looking like you're going to get farmed out, and I was just going to go pretty much for the nuke. Like what if you bait and it fails, and I think you're in a much worse position, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
why worry about it?
I let that through.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Thinking he must be thinking, oh well, I've got to start shielding at some point. So I was thinking he's going to bait, and then he didn't.
Oh no, Matthew.
Yeah.
That's utterly devastating.
Well, it's only going to get worse from this position.
Oh, don't tell me he's got like the Dragonite in back or something.
worse. So I go for the farm.
Oh no! I think I know what it is.
So obviously I have to shield.
Oh.
And then it's Steelix, yeah.
Oh, that is savage.
Yeah.
That's
and it's really annoying because there was sort of two almost 50-50s really that I could have got in with Dragalge versus the Munchlax.
Yeah.
So it didn't at the time feel like a bad decision to go to Wishcash. If I'd have shielded the Hurricane, I'd have been in a better position. But
yeah, it's a tough one because I suppose highlight maybe my comment there highlights that don't tell me it's Dragonite, but if you went in with Dragalge and then had Whiscash line up against Dragonite, it's even worse, isn't it? Right. So yeah, it's such a tough call to make.
Well, this game I dropped the Gyarados for whatever reason, and I'll use Wishcash as a safe switch if I need, and I brought Scrafty because I didn't want to be caught out by the Munchlax again.
Yeah, and no, that's fair. And it's a good size with Steelix, right? Yeah, he's got a great matchup there too. So. Well, I suppose that's actually looking at the team comp that you've got. It's very much kind of Dragon double Steelix counter. Which is kind of nice. Yeah.
So I go 2 shields down here because I'm not very good at counting, and I don't actually know how much energy Drill Run costs. So I get caught out. So I'm caught on CMP 2 shields down. So I do a bit of an undercharge.
Oh.
Are you back?
My internet just randomly looked out for no real reason. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. So you're back with me. So
yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
He switched to the Munchlax, so I counter switched into the.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And this is good. This is why I like Scrafty, and I can start going for the power up punches here, and some things are going to get hurt. Now,
yeah,
he's still got 2 shields. He's not going to want to use them on power up, but to shield power up punches.
That's the thing that I really like about Scrafty as well, is just like the momentum you can start generating very, very quickly. Another one of those ones is actually, I think, not that it's a really bulky mon, but it does have a lot more to it than perhaps a lot of people you kind of realise, specifically with a fighter as well. Like I always think of the fighter being like just really, again, paper thin, but like you can take a few hits.
Yeah, and at that point, so now he's had the shield one, and at this point the counters are doing as much as the wing attacks.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
That's just silliness, that is.
So I'm going to let it go down. He has to throw there, otherwise I get to another one. Dragalge comes in. I don't want to let him get close to a Hurricane.
Yeah. I just love how much Dragon Tail does now. It's just so nice to see.
Yeah. Obviously no shields left. Well. So at the mercy a little bit.
Weather Ball, I find that a slightly dubious decision. Especially with the Dragon Tail sneaking through as well.
I suppose had I chose to stay in, he'd have been able to farm me down.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go up to the Blizzard just because I don't want to play any games.
Well, that hurts. That really hurts.
So I decide later on that I should go for an undercharge. But by the time I decided that, it's too late.
Yeah.
And so now I just have to hope a mud bomb. Well, I have to hope to survive this.
Oh, he's a monster. He's an absolute monster.
0, 15, 15, my Wishcash.
Come on. Is that oh! Can't handle it.
And then kills with the mud bomb.
That was outrageous. That was absolutely outrageous.
Game 3, I think I keep the double Steelix counters in the back and switch to Gyarados rather than in the lead rather than Dragalge.
This is the thing, is that having watched some of the other finals as well, I've seen Scrafty versus the Shadow D Knight a few times, and that's actually not terrible because you can get that shield with foul plays and stuff. And so I really like that. I really like that 3 there. It's solid.
Yeah, so this is all right because I can get a big hit off. I can, you know, it's gone for Scrafty. This is all right. I think he shields. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just let this through. So this is the problem. This is the problem with Wishcash because it's not like Gyarados. So after this matchup, I will be bringing Gyarados in, but it's not like I'm gonna farm him down from this range. So I still feel like I've got to get another Blizzard off.
Yeah. That's a tough one, isn't it? Especially throwing 2 nukes and then still not really coming out with shield advantage.
But again, I've kept it away from the Scrafty, so not the worst scenario in the world.
Not too bad, no. Again, being at 1s in this scenario is pretty good going.
Yeah, quite happy.
So you probably get to a roundabout. Ooh.
No, I've lost track of energy here. I'm just assuming it's. Oh, there we go. Yeah,
I was thinking it felt a bit quick for the Hurricane. But I wasn't sure. I probably would have done the same thing. Lag. There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. So I lost a little bit of health, but I don't matter at the end.
So back in with the Steelix. Yeah. Okay, and then.
Now here, as you say, sometimes the foul plays will hurt, and I think if I went for Power Up Punch here, I win. But I didn't. I made the safe play because I need to get that shield because I think because I know I've met the Aqua Tail now. I know I'm going to win this with Scrafty, and I'm just thinking with enough counter damage. You know, with a bit of counter damage on the Steelix, will the Aqua Tail take it out? Like if I Power It Punched and he shielded, it was my game. If I Power It Punched and he let it through, it was his game. So I went for the sort of the mid ground.
Yeah, it's definitely more in your favour going this way. It's definitely the calculated play at that point. At least it wasn't Thunderfang.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Could you imagine? Oh, come on. Oh,
yeah.
The worst part there is I already knew what the outcome was going to be, but just still seeing it is just kind of like that is just tragic.
Really upsetting. Yeah, like. Yeah.
That is as a first round as well. That's like if you're going to lose first round, you don't want it to be like that at all. Like I think I'd much rather just be absolutely destroyed rather than have it like taken away from me essentially. Yeah.
Well, this was it. Like, I mean, arguably, I pinched game 2, like given the Wishcash IVs. Arguably, I pinched game 2, but you know, and I was unlucky game 1. I feel like just made a switch at the time made sense, and only with hindsight.
It's 50-50. Like, then you know, games are won and lost in 50-50. You can't feel too bad about it, really. But I agree. Obviously, looking back on it now, that Power Up Punch first would have given the extra counter damage going through, and that would have taken the steal. But then, I suppose it's like if it's 50-50. It's 20/20 hindsight, isn't it? Because like looking back, because you got the foul play off, and he shielded it. Then well, if I did the Power Up Punch, like
if it let it through, I win. So you know,
it's easy to see that on the back of a loss. Is that that's what I should have done. But like in that moment, I think if you go for that Power Up Punch, and then he doesn't, and it's just kind of like, I'm just throwing the game away, and that's what you'll feel about it then, right?
Yeah. Given that I had energy on Gyarados, I felt almost as a plan B, like a secondary potential win condition.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was definitely, I think, the more it's a more calculated way to play it. I think it was the smart way to play it. That the Power Up Punch foul play is feels more like a Hail Mary type thing. It's like there's one thing where if it goes wrong, you definitely lose. Whereas playing it the way that you did, it wasn't a definite loss in my opinion. It was like obviously it was shoddy with being the CMP at the very end, but there was much more flexibility, and I prefer those kind of plays, to be honest. I think you were never completely out of it until that last moment.
Exactly, and that's what I did it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think it was the right play.
Yeah,
really. You can look at it and see how you would have won, but it doesn't necessarily make it the right play at the time, right?
Exactly.
That's my philosophy on it. So, but still, that is so harsh.
Yeah, I'm glad you agree. But like, it was a great set, and actually, as much as it was a bit heartbreaking, given what I was saying about how badly I got battered by Leandro in Commander Cup, like it was a bit of a actually. I did at this point still believe that I could have come back in, and because it was double elimination, like, I did still. Weirdly, it gave me confidence losing like that.
Yeah, I can see it. Like, because you literally the 2 games that you lost were on one decision. It wasn't like you played badly and like you made multiple wrong decisions. You literally, it was like a 50-50 goes the other way, you win, and you either play the way that you did in game 3 or go for the Hail Mary. And you go for the Hail Mary and you win, but like realistically, a Hail Mary play that early in the tournament is probably not the way to go. Really, like okay, maybe second bracket plays. Who cares? Let's just go for it, maybe. But like there, I don't think it was the right way to play at all. So, and again, just considering how monstrous a player Leandro has been over the last like 5-6 months. I would absolutely take confidence from that as well. That was like, I've gone in there and actually run him really hard, and it's been essentially 2 50-50s, which has caused him to win. That's not necessarily him actually outplaying me necessarily. Like it's one way that I would look at it.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously still played really, really well. Don't get me wrong, but that was literally essentially on 2 coin flips, which is at the end of the day, like, you know, amazing. So
yeah. I was pleased for sure. But then it was gutted because I had to play the former champion and they haven't had to.
Hooray!
Yeah. So like immediately, like, I know Azu just. So my Dragalge is running out rage, but you can always fake the gunk shot.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to be doing that. So like immediately, I would pretty much, you know, in Scrafty and Gyarados on. I don't want to be facing that.
Yeah.
So immediately I just knew I was going to be running Wishcash Probo Agidos in some format.
It's a really tough call looking at Memphis' 6. Like this Azu Probo put together is actually pretty harsh, and then obviously you can go the dark way as well with Scrafty. It's not fun. Because like as soon as I see Probo and I've got like if I have a Gyarados, I'm kind of like I don't really want to throw that in there anyway. That's just not going to end well for me. There's that Dragonite again.
Yeah, please. I'm not too fussed about the Dragonite even with this line because obviously there's Blizzard on Wishcash, which is their Probo. Obviously, might be enough to keep Dragonite away from it, just from being brought in, just generally.
Yeah,
and.
I imagine cross poison actually probably does quite a bit of damage from the
precisely poison stings and cross poison, like they come as fast as weather balls from the Politoed thing. So I'm not actually all that concerned about the Dragonite. Bigger concern is the Marshtomp, really.
Absolute beast.
What an absolute monster. Although I know Aridos beats Wishcash in 1s and 2s straight plunge, so I'm assuming it's a similar matchup with Marshtomp. So hopefully I can potentially use Aridos to draw out the Marshtomp to keep it away from Probo. But yeah, I mean it's a tough matchup this for sure.
What's the because you've got more experience with Marshtomp than I do. What's the like in comparison between Marshtomp and Whiscash? Are they very similar in terms of bulk, or is Marshtomp like a bit more attack weighted?
Marshtomp's more attack weighted. I think Marshtomp's attack weight is stats product's about 1850, 1900, whereas Wishcash is about 2100, I think. So it's quite a significant. It's quite a significant difference.
But them slightly attack boosted Silphs are not quite that nice to take, are they?
No, well that's a key concern for me here. Yeah, so as I say, I just feel a bit hamstrung really into, and I knew this going into it that if I faced an Azul World team, I'd feel this way.
Yeah.
But as I say, as long as I sort of embrace the fact that I just have to be ballsy and assume they're not going to have Hydro Pump, which I know in the end Bibelicious did have Hydro Pump in the end, so on his Azul. So, but I'm not playing Bibelicious. So
was that the determining factor in his rise to victory? Who knows?
I mean, yeah, it says a lot, doesn't it? So yeah, let's just hit play. So this game might be the best game I played all year. This particular round.
Okay. Set me up already.
Set me up there. So I know this matchup isn't great, and it's not what I want Marshtomp, Blizzard in Wishcraft in for, because I wanted to get the Marshtomp. But at the same time, I can't really swap out either.
No.
So yeah.
not a fun lead.
No. So yeah, just stay in.
Straight for the foul play. Okay. Okay. So does he feel safe? Yes. That's unfortunate.
So I'm trying to. Yeah. So I have to shield this really.
Yeah.
And he knows that, so he's going to go for Power Punch anyway. But yeah, I was trying to save a bit of energy on Wishcast just so it could deal with Probo later, even at minimal health.
Yeah.
So now it's got Power Punch behind it. I need to go into Ariados to keep Wishcast alive. Probo Pass comes in, and obviously that's bad. Now at this point, I feel like my win condition is probably the timer.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Here we go.
So I'm going for lunges because I want to be able to tank a Rock Slide.
Yeah.
So I get 2 off because I'm happy taking a Rock Slide at this point. And then I think
so fast.
Yeah. And then I think now I start going for cross poisons just to try and burn out the timer a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot quicker, but significantly quicker. So as I say, I'm comfortable tanking this now after 2 lunges.
It's mad how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah. I'll go for another one.
Hey.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just to really annoy him.
Well, this is it. At this point, I know I now have to somehow get the Scrafty back in. Otherwise, Probo in the back's dead. So I go to me Wishcash. That was pure fluke catching that move. I'll admit it.
Tell everyone it was planned.
But it does the thing, because I've saved the energy, it does get the Scrafty back in.
Nice.
So I can come back in with Ari. I think I'll wait out the timer here. Again, time is my win con. I have to shield this, because if it's a Dark Pulse or a foul play even, that's game over.
Yeah. Good call.
I think I go for a few more cheeky.
Because why not? Why not?
the counters aren't hurting, and it's more time I'm wasting. Don't want to risk being caught by another one.
Yeah, makes sense.
Want to keep Ariados alive, as I say. I want to keep both Ariados and Probopass alive.
Yeah.
I go for the lunge.
Playing some old school Ultra League strats there.
Yeah. Want to make the mirror easier as possible. I'm just at this point hoping he's got Dragonite in the back.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He has Azu.
Oh no. That absolutely horrid. Azu Dark Core.
I'm going for Thunderbolts. I'm not risking him calling a bait. I'm just going for it, knowing I can probably get. If he hasn't got Hydro, if he's got Hydro, I'll lose anyway. But my link, and I'll just have to hope he doesn't. I can probably get 2 more.
I'm going to play rough, okay. Interesting. This is. Oh,
It's just
what is happening? What have we become?
yeah.
Tune in next week for more high-octane content.
So,
This is absurd.
tank it. 10 seconds left.
There it is. There it is.
And does it kill? Yes.
Oh my God. Oh. How did you win? Oh my God. That is just disgusting.
I invested in a better IV promo pass before the tournament started, and that was so that was worth it. I lead the spider thing this time. Ariados.
Nice.
Yeah, just to catch the Azu or the Scrafty. Try and maximise my chances a bit.
I never thought I'd ever see a timeout win in a Continental final. This is just.
I did feel a bit dirty.
You should.
It's the rules, man. It's the rules. Like,
look, not even running a timeout team.
I think I shield this because I know I need to get the Ariados. Yeah, even though he's debuffed, I shield it.
Oh, okay. Interesting switch.
And if I remember rightly, I think I go to Probo after this. So let's keep it away from Scrafty.
It's a good shout with it being you keep it away from Scrafty then, don't you? And you know it's only play rough. Presumably Ice Cubes. Why else would they throw it? So, yeah.
So I'm feeling happy at this point.
So we look at the.
I think I over farmed there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know whether if the Thunderbolt would have KO'd or whether you farm up then throw the Thunderbolt. I shields anyway.
Yeah.
So I suppose you just won't be able to throw something at the Scrafty.
Yeah.
But that being said, at this point, if he lands the play rough, then he's not going to get much counter farm anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
You could just throw it willy nilly then. So.
Yeah, it was quite nice that it worked out.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just still in a bit of shock, to be honest.
No.
I'm just kind of like, what would I do here? Who knows? Try and time out again, probably.
So I'm back in with Ari.
Yeah.
That was an interesting decision. So I must have, in my head, thought it's got Probo pass in the back. Yeah, oh, there we go. Yeah.
That's just GG then, isn't it, really? So.
Yeah, and that explains the Azu switch.
Yeah.
Because if he has Dragonite in the back, I'd probably lose anyway. Yeah. Yeah, so Wishcash, I'm being a bit of a brat here, and
I suppose it's kind of a pretty makes sense him having Probo in the back, because I guess if you've shown that you've got Probo and Wishcash game one, like, and we saw what happened. So, like, you know, if you've shown that you're happy using those two, do you necessarily want to bring the Dragonite in anyway? Like, obviously, it would have done him really well here, but I think it's a pretty risky play to make being a game down, personally.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he thought I was going to change it up, but I don't know. There's no way I was ever bringing anything other than that 3. I don't think.
Yeah, you look at it, it's just like obviously it's got his counters on his team, but it's got really good general play across the board. Like, it's one of those things that whenever I see Probo, I just immediately think, where's the RPS going to happen?
Yeah.
And like, you just want to avoid that as much as possible. Well, I personally do. I know there's a lot of people who really like that style of play, and shame on them.
But yeah, so there we go. That was it versus.
Nice, very nice.
That's the first time I've watched the that first game back for Smithers, and it was I enjoyed it as much as I remember.
But that's like something expected from me, not from that team. That was just ridiculous.
I never assumed it was going to happen. I just thought, well,
this is it.
That was the wink on.
It's true. I don't look at that 6. It's like, yeah, this match isn't finishing. That's not what I think when I look at that 6 right there. So, I applaud you in your ability to eke out wins from across the full spectrum of the rule set.
Well, that ain't gonna happen in this round because Ariados was brought to break up the Azu versus Azu Dark Cause, but when the Dark type is Vullaby, that's not going to help me a great deal.
Yeah, that's pretty savage, to be honest. I mean, I saw Vullaby used in it was Tho's Tho Technical's practice tournament, like I think literally the week before this, and Dancing Rob used it, and he had this absolutely disgusting like Altaria Vullaby core, which is like nearly impossible to break. I was like, that thing's actually amazing.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I switched to Probopass from Bronzong, just to have better matchups versus Vullaby and Spilus.
I think that was one of the things I thought when everyone was like, "Oh yeah, Bronzong's really amazing." It's like, well, I just immediately thought that all the real like hardcore players were just going to have a Vullaby. Just because I thought, oh well, it's actually really good, and Bronzong's not going to do anything to Vullaby. I really wanted to build one, but I don't have a hundo, so or any XL for it. Well, enough XL for it. But yeah, I can see why it would be more of a problem for you here, which is a shame.
Yeah, I can't remember what I do. I didn't start recording. So normally I have the 3 I use on screen, but I didn't start recording until after I'd locked those in, so I don't actually know what I've done here.
Trying to think what you would do here.
I think I led Ariados.
I'd probably go Ariados lead.
And then probably Wish Cash safe switch maybe, and then something harder to deal with Vullaby, so maybe Probopass in the back against. Maybe the same line as I just used. Yeah, no, I remember exactly what I did. Yeah, I remember now. I'm pretty sure I went Ariados with Probo and Wish Cash in the back. So that's.
It's a strong generalist 3, to be honest. Like, Ariados doing work, but that's perhaps not what you wanted to see.
No, and I know I don't want to switch to Probo, so I think I go for a lunge and then dip. I think. Because then that's going to put it in range of a Blizzard, perhaps. Maybe.
Should do, because it has slightly less HP than Mandy at Great League level. I think maybe it's like it's similar, but not obviously not exactly the same. So I think where Mandy gets put into the red from full health by Blizzard, I think it basically almost can knock it out. But still, when you think about like how small that thing is, it's kind of terrifying to think.
It's a bit strange, isn't it? It's a bit strange. So now I'm just stuck throwing mud bombs at Azu. For the rest
this fun matchup.
Yeah.
I think I again remember this one from pre-season GBL being a common one.
Well, I think Wishcrash does win the 2s. Again against non-hydro pump Azu.
Yeah, it just pumps out the mud bombs so quickly. It's really annoying.
Well, I mean, he's adding up already, and then if I can get one more, maybe I can farm him with Ari, but he doesn't let me get to it. Yeah, which is a shame. Strange decision on my end. I don't understand this whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I am deeply confused by that decision.
Maybe. Like, I know I've lost Switch, so I'm happy sort of like giving up Switch again, almost. Maybe I just wanted a bit of energy on Frobo.
Maybe.
In case he had Bronzong in the back or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, just trying to put farm down now.
Come on. Oh, still got 2 shields though, which is awful.
Yeah, because there was no point in me bringing out Ariados anyway, because then he just comes in with Vullaby anyway. So I thought I'd just try something different.
I guess in many ways, like whatever happens, whatever Probopass gets lined up to here is going to get lined up to it anyway, right? Yeah, exactly. You don't have any choice in it. So
in the end,
I was about to say, I reckon it's big in the back, and there it is.
Yeah. So in the end, it didn't really matter. So game 2. I just replace Probo with Dragalge.
Yeah.
Which is obviously bad if he leads Bronzong, because I've only got Whiscash for it.
Yeah.
Then Dragalge can take on the big and the Vullaby. So this is good.
Big lead, yeah.
Yeah, this is good, and I think if I remember rightly. So yeah, I'm happy going for the lunge. I'm just super concerned about saving the Ariados for Azu, so I decided to protect it. But what I've lost track of there is that actually I needed Whiscash alive for a potential Bronzong.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Which is
really kind of ABA, yeah.
Yeah, which no, he didn't bring it last game, so I felt a bit more confident doing this. You know, I mean, it was a silly line of 3 because if he leads Bronzong, I lose.
Yeah.
But I felt a little bit more confident doing it because he hadn't brought the Bronzong. So I'm just chipping away. Not throwing my charge moves at particularly good times here. I think I'm completely rattled at this point. Like I saw this team and I thought it's going to be tough. But,
and pretty well so far though.
Yeah, it's going alright because I can come in and get a poison sting farm down. Presumably that's what I do. Surely there's no way I go to Dragalge here. That's a really aggressive farm down.
At that point I was just like, you've just lost your mind, so.
I was scared of having to take a charge move, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not really.
Plus, if you get the boost here, that's quite nice. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's the problem.
Oh no. That is so savage.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, ultimately, this game I needed Ariados for Vigoroth and Azu.
Yeah. Essentially bringing double Dragalge counters is just rough. Must say, I was kind of surprised that you didn't bring Bronzong game 1, because you look at Bronzong versus your team, and like really, it's not. I imagine the Probopass match is really not fun, but you know. It can be played out with Bronzong, and I guess just doesn't really want to see Scrafty or Whiscash, really, does it? So,
well, that's it.
I guess Crunch and Gyarados. But...
Yeah, maybe they were just trying to avoid the RPS.
Yeah, I remember in practice running the Bronzong against you, and it's like those confusions add up.
They do. I think he's at a bulldoze, isn't he? So
yeah,
that was all she wrote, really.
That's rough. Like. Yeah, that's a really, again, one of those rough ways to lose, isn't it? Like, just having that literally the one pick, just eliminating the strat.
I mean, I'm not too upset really. Like, I went in to this entire thing, preliminaries included, knowing that I was really weak to Azu. So I can only really blame myself, really. There was a point when I was like trying to work an electric type in, and that would have helped versus Vullaby, but that would have been what I was looking at was Ampharos, which would have been at the expense of Ariados anyway. So then,
I absolutely would have thought you would have gone Zapdos.
All points, man. So I'm having a change of heart on electric types. I'm now of the opinion where if they're not running Volt Switch, if you're an electric type that doesn't have Volt Switch, I don't think I'm particularly interested anymore.
I know we've had this discussion before, Matthew, and I think there's still some play for Thundershock variants as my
Yeah, there's always
prismatic team maybe. I was running as Thundershock A2 and just no one knew the counts, so
well, yeah,
that was quite fun. But don't look at me, I'm weird. So I run Wob, who cares? So
A2 would have been awesome versus Helsinki's team.
It's true, actually. Yeah, that was that 4 or 6 as well?
6 picks though. 6 points. Yeah,
which is hefty for. Well, that's also why I really liked K2 because I could do the similar job for 1 point. So, but yeah, no, I think to your point about knowing that you're weak to Azu. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But again, I didn't think at the outset. I don't think many people. And maybe actually this is why it did end up being popular, is because perhaps many people didn't think Azu would be popular, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also of the opinion that if you know that there's something that you're particularly weak to, sometimes, as long as you know that you're weak to it, you play around it, right? It's not like I've been in situations where it's like, oh, I didn't realize I was weak to this one pick and now I'm wrecked. It's like there's a lot of times in speaking to people about helping with team building, so it's like, oh, I'm just weak to this. It's like, well, at least you know you're weak to it.
That's it, yeah.
Right. So
make sure you play a certain way, basically. But
yeah, but I think all things considered, that sounds bad. I mean, absolutely tremendous to get to this stage, an absolutely insane run.
I played over the 10 games. I played 5 Azus.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly.
Not a single obstacle, which is what I was expecting. Not a single obstacle.
I thought Obstagoon would be more popular as well. I'm not gonna lie, because everyone loves Obstagoon. But yeah, it seemed to be lots of Alolan Grimer or Berserker. Yeah. Which I was proudly running Berserker, and it was great. It was great fun. It never lasted long, but but no, yeah. At the end of the day, this considering the lines that you had to face, I think it's so a couple of those losses were really rough.
Yeah, but the lines and the people in combination. Yeah.
But still, it takes nothing away from the fact that this was a tremendous effort. Massive getting through those prelims, considering the names that were there. Just how everything worked out on the day was amazing. Honestly, I said to you probably, it was when we got to that last round, I was like, please don't let me draw you. I do not want to draw you. It was don't put me in the way in any way, shape or form. Keep me away from that. But I we've all said, it was it was an amazing run. And this was, looking at this, it's just most of it was on 50-50s, which is, you can't be mad about that at the end of the day. So yeah, really, really well played. The biggest GGs, amazing. Well done. I'm looking forward to seeing you run next year. I'm gonna get up there and cause you headaches, maybe. Who knows? But no, yeah, that was amazing. I really like the team as well. That team build, I know I said to you before when we were practicing, that was a really interesting build, and I think it worked really, really well. So yeah, hats off.
Yeah, this is it. I think people could have been forgiven for looking at the team on the day and seeing that I only won 1 game and thinking, well, why is he running stupid nonsense? But actually, I think when you see it from this perspective, I think it worked quite well. Yeah.
And this is the kind of the team building philosophy I've always subscribed to. Is loads of people would always go on PvP Poke and look at what the top 15 are and just try and make a 6 out of those 15 or whatever. But I've always been, I like slightly more unusual picks anyway, right? But I much more subscribe to the philosophy of if a Pokemon does a particular job that you need it to do, then it's never really a stupid pick. And you just look at a Riodos and people would write that off, but it does a particular job and you've shown that it does that job well. It might not be ranked in the top 50, 60, 70, whatever you wanted your arbitrary cutoff might be, but it doesn't stop a Pokemon being good at doing what it does. And if you get it for that particular reason, then you'll make other people cry.
There you go.
So yeah, I think that's it was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. Great fun, heartbreaking, but also it was tremendous. So really well played, mate. brilliant. Thank you for allowing me to share in this experience with you.
No, thanks for joining, man. And yeah, hopefully, well, yeah, maybe next season we'll see what happens.
I have every faith.
Right, catch you later, mate. Nice one. Cheers.
See you all.